So, 10 years in the making. 10 years of preparing and thinking and strategizing and thinking how perfectly I'm going to create my videos with this amazing perspectives and with this, nuance and with this beautiful language and how I'm going to dazzle everyone with my, with my wisdom and with my depth and all of that. And that's something I've been thinking about and envisioning for the last decade, and nothing actually happened. Ta-da! Yeah, so that's a pattern of my life, right? Project, idea, getting caught up in the possibilities and in the imagining of it and in the enjoyment of the expansiveness of ideas, right? It's so nice to be able to imagine how things can be done and how I can create diagrams which will present things in such a compelling way and how I can dazzle people and all of that. And yet, after 10 years, not a single video has been shot. And so today, I yeah, I was just walking around and realizing the the failure of my life strategies, of which there are many, which there are many failures and many strategies. And one of them was like, yeah, the video creation, right? And then this idea came, it's like, you know what? How about if I just turn the camera on and just shoot the bloody video and make it cringy? And how about if I made a point of making it cringy? Not necessarily make it cringy on purpose, but like, how about if I open up to the possibility of enjoying things being cringy, right? And the possibility of thinking that someday someone may see this video and I'm gonna be embarrassed as fuck. Excuse my French. Um, but yeah, that's the beauty of midlife. That's the beauty of life strategies failing. Right? And that's the beauty of life falling to pieces. Like right now, I'm in a place where my career has fallen to pieces, my financials, don't ask. It's really not pretty, and pretty much everything else. And so there's the mind. There's I failed. My life is just in ruin, which it is, looking through a certain perspectives. But at the same time, I've been long enough in the psychospiritual game or the metacognitive game to know that like okay, well, there's life, there's reality, and there's the story about reality. And and I know the ego patterns enough to see that what ego does, it will create a perspective, it will create a story to continuously recreate patterns of tension, to continuously recreate the sense of things being not okay, of things being not as they should be, recreate the sense that somehow I'm doing things wrong, right? And it does that to create tension, to create stress, to create shame, to create judgment, and so that the ego can then get really busy and strategize and think and try to figure out and be busy, constantly going, thinking. And God, I'm so good at thinking, seriously. And journaling, like up to a year ago, or maybe even half a year ago, I would be now like on my fourth hour of journaling and processing my thoughts and mapping things in my system and all of that shit, which is beautiful, which I love, and which is has been a lot of a big part of my life. Anyway, but I'm rambling, right? And and that's something I've decided today. I've decided like, okay, how about if I can ramble, and how about if I can um, yeah, embrace the embrace the cringe, embrace the fact that I'm not able right now to create a coherent story, narrative, and maybe that's the beauty of it, right? Yes, we've got all this perfectly choreographed and perfectly staged and perfectly articulated videos which just deliver the goods and deliver the message which will change your life, right? And it's like, whoo, beautiful. But you know what? At a certain age, you realize like none of that is worth shit. As of it is, obviously, there's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of beauty in all this kind of tactical and strategic tips and ways to change yourself, and that's beautiful. And at the same time, if it's not your time to change, you can do everything you want, and just certain things you're not going to change, right? And even the recognition that certain things you're not going to change like ever in your life. That's you have certain patterns in your personality which will stay with you, which will provide this kind of which will shape the trajectory of your life, and there's nothing wrong about it. It's just your life will be revolving around that particular dynamic that you will try to be wrestling with and fix at some point, or initially trying to fix. Later you'll start seeing the gift of that pattern that you're trying to fix, and later you start honoring the pattern, honoring the journey that you've had, this kind of struggle, this kind of tussle, this kind of going back and forth and loving and hating it, and that's just life. And is this making any sense? And then the mind goes, stress. I'm not making sense. This is a crappy video, right? But it is it is based on one assumption. The video should make sense. The video should be structured. The video should be linear. But that's just one part of polarity, right? We have the order, we have the structure, we have the perfect delivery of something, but we also have the messy. We also have that kind of lively, um, just chaotic element to this spectrum of order and chaos, right? And maybe it's interesting as well to see where is this going? Is this going anywhere? It's kind of somehow there's something in it, and yet at the same time it's like, oh my fucking god, what a waste of time. How am I sitting here and watching a video about a guy just going completely off tangent and not making any sense, and yet there is some sense in that, right? And that's life. Like so often we explore something, we get kind of captured by something, by an inkling of a possibility that there may be something there, and there's stress, right? That there's tension, like, oh shit, am I wasting time, or maybe there is something there? And frankly, we never know. Frankly, we never know, because it may be that this particular video hasn't delivered anything, and I have no intention of delivering anything apart from delivering something for myself, which is create the first bloody video. But there's certain things that sometimes we hear. It can be one perspective. It can be a quality. It can be seeing someone who's 50 this year, fucking 50, and whose life has fallen apart, and I'll talk about it in in my one of my next videos, and yet who's because of his life has kind of crumbled, and there's no more pretense, there's nothing more to be defending, to be pretending. There's no kind of facade of me being on top of things and having life figured out. That the very fact that there's like, damn, I really have got no bloody idea of how to deal with this. I mean, seriously, it's just like, you know, and maybe there's freedom in that. Maybe there's freedom in that. Maybe there's freedom in realizing um, that this whole assumption that life is about being on top of it, it's just an assumption. It's just a story, right? And when you see it, the older you get and you see the complexity of life, right? The complexity of our inner life, the fact that we are not even one coherent identity, that there's actually we are a village of sub-personalities, right? This is the whole part psychology, like for example, internal family system, right? Which shows you this many different parts of you, each wanting different things, each having a different idea for success, different motivation, different strategies, different sensitivities. Once again, you have this part which wants to be disciplined and structured and like, whew, and you have the part which is just wants to stuff yourself with food and to ravage and to engage in sex acts and to be carnal and all of that, right? Different parts, and it's like, holy shit, how am I supposed to somehow be on top of that, right? And then there's all the complexity of life which comes from the relationship I have, from my work situation, from the different roles that I play in my life, from the social economic situations, from the bloody moon rising and my and your hormones. Well, if you're a woman and your hormones playing havoc with you, it's like it's like impossible. Oops, my camera's just had a hiccup. So yeah, so when you realize the complexity of life, when you realize that it's pretty much impossible to really be on top of things, and maybe life is not about being on top of things, right? And maybe realizing that you will never be on top of things, and that you can just let go of that idea being ever something you aspire to, right? And how about if we can see that there's so many different ways that uh, we can we can look at life, so we can how about if it's possible to enjoy the messiness of it? How about if it's possible to just laugh at the very absurdity of life, to laugh at the very absurdity of thinking that somehow I can manage life, right? And that somehow uh, it's all about me arranging life so that it complies with how this little ego thinks life should be, right? How about if life is not a problem to be solved by a but a mystery to be experienced, right? So yeah. So once again, failing in life is fucking painful, and at the same time, there's freedom to it, right? Once again, there's no pretense, right? The what's the saying? The Caesar is naked, the king has no clothes, whatever that is, right? Like at some point you don't need to pretend. And there's, once again, there's freedom in that. And there's freedom in making a video which is completely, once again, unscripted, rambling, and painful to watch potentially. It's definitely going to be painful for me to watch. I'm not even sure if I'm ever going to watch it. Anyway, it's time to go to sleep because it's after 1 a.m. and it's time to finish this video. And you know what? Yeah, it's been completely uh, rambling, and yet there's something there. There's something there, when you there's a few perspectives there which are life-changing, you know. Simple thing. How about life? How about if it's not my role to be on top of things? How about if I can embrace the unresolvableness of life? How about if I can experience the chaos and allow for chaos to be chaos? And yeah, try to, impose some order, try to, you know, mitigate the disasters, but at the same time, be in it with a sense of detachment, with a sense of amusement, with a sense of like, you know what, life just do whatever you want with me, right? Because that's what you've always been doing anyway, right? You kind of let go of this illusion of you having been driving your life, and you realizing that there's this way larger forces which are living through you, right? It's like, do I live life, or does life live through me? And uh, you know, there's some very, very deep um, some very, very deep wisdom which you can't just dismiss like that. There's this whole idea of us having free will, and this whole idea of us being in the driving seat to a very, very large degree, that is that is an illusion. And if you want to go deeper into that, there's a beautiful book, No Self, No Problem. Really recommend it. It's from blending like kind of the Eastern Buddhism approaches with neuroscience, and it shows very beautifully how, once again, there's the illusion of doership, right? Illusion of being in control of life. And when we see that, when we allow for the possibility that maybe actually I don't have as much control as I thought I did, there's freedom in that again. There's freedom in that because suddenly the responsibility, the heavy burden of responsibility of making sure that life happens how you think it should happen, that falls away, at least to a degree, right? And if I don't have full control over this whole bloody thing, then maybe I can just relax in that a bit. And maybe I can relax the judgments about my inability to make life comply to my, you know, idealized vision. So anyways, I'm gonna leave you and I'm gonna leave myself with this. And it seems like I have created a video, the first one, which is amazing. Quite happy about that. So yeah, despite life falling to pieces, there's you know, there's an element, aspect of it, which is coming together. Anyways, that's the first video. Thank you for watching. If you're still here at this point, like holy shit, congratulations. And I hope you got something from here. All right, that's it.